Hey guys, what's up? So in this video we're going to be taking a look at not really a new model, but something that's been out for a little bit at this point. The entry grade Galaxy Strike, the entry grade Build Strike Exceed Galaxy. Essentially what this is the Build Strike, its newest variant. Most of them have been high grades based on the standard Strike, which the Strike's one of my favorite seed designs, but this one's pretty cool. It does some different things. I'll show you guys what it is. And it being an entry grade, it's a pretty quick assembly. So, let's get it built, and we'll see how it looks. And fully assembled out of the box, and everything panel lined and snap fitted together. Here we've got the model complete, and it's very nice. It's very striking. The pink here is a lot more vibrant and bright and more neon in real life than it is on the model. It's a little dull here, but trust me, it's a much more hot pink neon aesthetic in person, which is fine. That's what the whole build line's going for the longest time anyway. But for an entry grade, it's nice. It's about on par with the entry grade Strike, which is what it uses most of the parts from anyway, so that's what you would expect. But the head looks great. The eyes this time are a nice lime green, just up in the head there, and it being a modern entry grade, that means there are no stickers at all, and the head cut's a very nice shape and silhouette. I wish the eyes were a little bit brighter so you could see a little more from a distance. All the detail inside of the shoulder pads looks great though. And of course you'll want to panel line this kit since the face and head need it desperately. But the head does got a nice silhouette. It looks good. The V-fin is nice and sharp and angular. It's a good looking head in general. I honestly would put that on a regular Strike variant. It looks sick. You do have these little hard points now that are added to various parts of the mobile suit to kind of give on to the gimmick of what this whole line was. Instead of just reprints, it was also using these hard points to make customization easier, which it does in theory, but also most of us don't use that, so white would have probably helped these stand out more. There's the red, but it's whatever. These also aren't bad. But behind every one of these, there is some mechanical detail, so that's really nice. The blue is not actually a blue. Neither is the blue for the feet. It's kind of a periwinkle. It's got a little bit of a purple tone in there, and it looks nice. It adds a bit of variety to it. The white's got a little bit of a blue undertone to it, so again, it adds some variety than your just standard run-of-the-mill Strike colors. The rifle is a new piece entirely with that hard point sculpted on, and I'm sure it's pretty obvious that can double as a sword. That's why it's got this little handle piece back here, this little cross guard here, and the sword blade just is right here. It pops into the shield and pops into the rifle, and of course you can just take the rifle out of the hands, switch it around, put it in the hand like so. Again, it being a modern entry grade, you don't have to take the backs of the hands off to swap the hands, which is nice. That does definitely make that easier. And then of course you just put, it's not the tightest fit in the world, but it works, and it's an all right effect. I don't really think the sword is the coolest looking weapon he's got, but that's just my opinion. Some people might find it really cool. I think the sword's kind of goofy. Where this is really actually quite cool is right here on the shield, where you've got another translucent pink piece that this then slots into. It gives almost a seamless look. This, I think, is the cool look. This is the cool weapon. This is probably how it's getting displayed on a shelf is like this. This just looks so cool. And it fits tighter too. And behind the right lighting, like the angle I'm looking at it from with my studio lighting, this is glowing a nice neon pink, and it's quite nice. The articulation is the standard as the standard entry grade strike. Another variant on here is where the striker pack would plug into. The striker pack port is converted into something completely different, which is now a small core fighter. And it looks good. It's cool. It's a nice thing to have. And of course, this using the same hardpoint system as everywhere else. You can peg it anywhere else on the suit. Example, you can flip out a little hard port and you can just, plug it into like the shoulder pad, like, up here, or put it like on the back of the arm, like right here. Or like, on the top of the shoulder pad, like, which you wouldn't want to do that, but still. Or like on the side of the shield to make one bulky, cumbersome shield. And that's an okay gimmick. I myself would prefer you just stick a IWSP or striker pack into the back of this, just to have another strike variant, painted a nice dark purple or a nice periwinkle and just shove it onto the back and have a cool variant of the strike. The shield is on a ball joint pivot, so it can move around a bit and get out of the way. I leave it attached here since this point is kind of ugly without anything in it. The upper body, the upper torso, at least it's visible, is a darker purpley blue. Not a navy, but more of a purple. The articulation is your standard modern entry grade, so you get full range of the shoulders. Shoulder pads do impede a little bit because of how they're designed. You get a double jointed elbow that's actually really nice. That's at the single. If you can get the double to activate, you'll get a little more, but it's not going to work for me. You'll get a swivel at the bicep, the usual modern Gundam articulation scheme. You get a ball joint at the wrist, which gets everything to move around perfectly fine. A ball joint at the torso, which gets no range forward, no range back, a little bit of pivot, but definitely gets good rotation. The other ball joint connecting the two abdominal pieces together. Again, it's more just to get pivot than it is anything else. The skirting armor is one piece, obviously. You can split that if you want. The hips are the modern entry grade hips, so they are just traditional mushroom pegs that pop on with friction. They go about that far forward. Splitting the skirt's not really going to garner you that much more, so back about that much because it's prohibited by the back plate. The knees are double jointed, but work fine single jointed. You can get a lot of range out of them. That's a lot, more than 90 degrees, so that's perfect. A little ugly in the front, but actually not that bad for an entry grade, really. I've seen far worse. The ankles can tilt this far forward, can tilt this far back, can pivot extremely deep to both sides, can go down extremely far, up extremely far, because they're not really limited by any traditional leg articulation, so that's really nice. As for weaponry, he does come with the rifle and sword that I showed you earlier. The Strike Gundam's rifle as well, but that's because he's just a variant of the Strike Gundam. I didn't panel line this because I'm not going to use this. This is probably going to go to one of my other Strike variants on the shelf and become his new rifle. I've got like one of them that doesn't have a rifle, so he's probably going to get. It's probably going to go to my dagger, to be honest. But all in all, it's a pretty good kit. It's a lot of fun. It's one of those kits that you can build in an evening and you're not going to be frustrated with it. You're going to get a really nice look, a really fun kit either way, whether you choose to do this or customize it. You can get a lot of fun with it. It's a fun kit. It looks nice. It poses nice. It panel lines nice. You're going to be able to do a lot with it, and it's just going to look fun on a shelf, being a Strike Gundam with some hot pink accent colors to it and more of a purple scheme. It's pretty sick, actually. I'd recommend that if you can find it for a reasonable price, I wouldn't go more than like maybe $15. I'd pick him up. for sure, that's definitely a worthwhile investment. Thanks. I'll see you guys in the next one.